and welcome. You're watching Head to Head. I'm Antonina Antosha with UATV. Ukraine has seen many upheavals in the last few years. What is missing in the decade is a clear direction as to where the country should be heading in the future. This is why the first Startup Nations Conference has been held in Kyiv, where more than 100 people have shared ideas on how to create change from the ground up. Today, we're going to discuss how blockchain technology can empower communities. To talk more about this, we're joined in the studio today by Yanick Dols. He's a tech-savvy entrepreneur with a key interest in the intersection of society and technology. So, hello, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So as far as I know, you've been giving a speech at the conference that I just mentioned in my intro, and you've talked about how blockchain technology can transform capitalism and empower communities. Could you dwell on that a little bit more? Because this is very interesting.
It's very interesting. It's also, you can talk hours about it. It's just that when you look to society was a lot of times was organized in a decentralized way. We had small tribes. They were like 70 to 100 people. And there was a trustless system because everybody knew each other. Mm-hmm. Then agriculture came along and the tribes became bigger and bigger. So we needed to centralize. And we did that very well. But now we have a technology that can create a trustless system beyond a tribe of 100 people, basically overhaul the world.
By doing what? How? What's the mechanism of that?
The mechanism of that is basically that there is that in the technology, it creates the trust that is being created by mathematical equations. Mm-hmm. And mathematical equations don't lie. So, for instance, you have the example, the most known is Bitcoin, which is a currency. And it's that you don't need a bank, an intermediate party that takes control over the bank account and says, okay, you have $100 in your bank account or to 3,000 hryvnias or something. And it is peer-to-peer. So basically the community participates and makes it secure and makes that the system does what it needs to do, creates the function. So with Bitcoin, it does the transactions. So you don't need the middleman. So we can take the middleman out, that centralized organization. And in this way, we can create a decentralized peer-to-peer.
In Ukraine, in particular, I'm not going to be talking about the whole world, but in Ukraine, people who do have any idea what blockchain technology is, you're right, they're connecting it with Bitcoin. So basically they think that this is some kind of financial mechanism. How do you educate simple communities on what the blockchain mechanism is and how it can be transferred from the financial sphere into the everyday social life?
I think it's also always when I speak, I always give a short introduction into the technology, but very fast I say stop. We use every day internet and we email, but we also don't know how the HTTP protocol or the SMTP protocol works, because we use it by its applications. So at the moment, all around the world, people are developing these applications and needs to be adopted and being used. And I hope that more and more people will step into it, because in the beginning it were only the nerds and the geeks, and luckily more people are getting in. So we get also real applications that are being used every day. But we have to think this technology is still in early stage.
Right.
It's still a technology that needs to grow. The internet in the beginning was also not doing what it does now. So there's a lot of experiments to be done.
Besides the internet, you are an entrepreneur with the key interests in the intersection between technology and society. How do we take those two different spheres or areas of our lives and make them consolidate, cooperate?
One is education that you mentioned is a very important one. And on the other hand is experiments, having people open-minded, not being stuck within we do what we always have done and it works. And to think about differently, because at the moment, not only blockchain, but you also have like additive manufacturing, you have artificial intelligence, you have biomedical, and so on. There's a lot of big, let's say, advancement in the technology happening, all parallel to each other. And they also enforce each other. So by this all coming together, we also have a way to also start thinking about, okay, society is now, let's say, a system. It's all made of subsystems that is being controlled in this way. But now we have new technologies that can basically recreate how do we want to see the fabric of society. And this is not something that happens from day one, day two. It needs a lot of time, a lot of experiments, and especially more people being involved.
That's the thought that I just had when you said that we can recreate the society. Will society be willing enough to reject the old model of the existence and be open-minded enough
I think
to start recreating?
Yeah, it's not. It will take like at least 30, 50 years to see really this advancement, but it will go step by step. And I believe, change is always hard, but I also see that if you look to the younger generation, it is the one that is also, let's say, grown up with the internet, while the generation before got to know the internet. So you already see the big difference. And see that with these new technologies also coming into play. It always needs like 1 or 2 generations to really consolidate and to come together. But I believe that if you look to the world and all the things that are happening, it's getting better and better every day. So let's take this into account and bring more happiness, more inclusion, more freedom, and more autonomy to the people. Because there are technologies that can make that happen.
You mentioned that you've spent quite some time in Ukraine. You're running some projects here, you have some startups. From your point of view, how willing and how ready is Ukrainian society for being recreated?
I think it's like a little bit double-sided. On one hand, everybody is looking and also pushing themselves really hard to work out to create their own thing to happen. You have now, of course, also the new movement in parliament and by the president, which what you see is basically also what is happening in the rest of Europe. People fed up with the current political system, so they want something new. It will be hard, it will be difficult. On the other hand, what you see is that some people, because of always being fighting and so on a little bit for this change, they don't believe in the change coming. So I think that is more with the older generation, but when the younger, you see that they have it in them. I hope at least that they also will keep pushing and pushing it through. But it's change, and change always takes a lot of resistance and takes a lot of time. It doesn't happen overnight.
From your personal evaluation of the situation in Ukraine, which areas are prone and would be the most effective to invest into?
To invest into? I think the IT sector is very good. I think it's very good that you saw first that it was more IT services outsourcing and so on to other, let's say, countries. But I'm happy to see that you see developments, that there's also own innovations and products being launched into the market. And what I would advise them is to really go international, scale really into other markets, other regions. Mostly you see they stay in the CIS countries. I think that especially with the strength of the IT sector here, there's a lot of opportunity. And then I look at I'm from the Netherlands. We are also very strong in agriculture. And I see here is also a strong agriculture base. But I think maybe it's good that they would share some knowledge together and combine that. Because there I think also it's very important. Everybody has to eat. Food is also very important.
Absolutely.
On the other hand, I think that real estate is here in Ukraine at the moment also a good investment. But I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not an investor. So.
You are, I would say, a blockchain technology expert. And I gotta ask you, a lot of people are still uncertain of what the market of cryptocurrencies is actually. And a lot of experts have been calling it a bubble. Yes or no?
Yes or no? Yeah, I really like that everything went down. In 2017, everything was going sky high.
Yeah.
What you saw, a lot of people went in it only for the money, only for gaining some money, speculating
That's why
on
I
the
think
word.
it actually went up.
So when it was going down, I was very happy because we are still in a phase where the technology needs to develop. It's the same like the dot-com bubble. And yes, everything they say is possible, but the technology is not ready for it. Also, the models of the ICOs with having just a white paper, just basically an ID, and then having valuations of billions. It's common sense. It's not possible. So I'm happy it's going down. What I see is that most of them will fail of the projects currently out there. I think maybe we're even going still now. People think we're going up again. I think that's going to happen next year. But still, I'm not speculating. I'm not trading. I'm really building things.
So the forecast that soon enough and in the nearest future, all the payments around the globe are going to be done in cryptocurrencies, that's not true.
I think if you look very far ahead, yes, but not within 10 years. I think there will always be the fiat system like we know it now. But yeah, next to that, there will exist cryptocurrencies which make certain payments, let's say the internet payments, more easy.
Right.
But I think actually it can also go faster, but it's like a lot of power play also by politics. The banks is in play. They are also now jumping on it. So we will see. I hope it will be faster because now if I, for instance, send from my Dutch bank account here to Ukraine money, it takes still like 5 days. While with Bitcoin it is like in an instant. So.
Yeah. Well, there are always pros and cons. Thank you so much for coming in for this interesting conversation.
Thank you very much.
That was Yanick Dols. He's a tech-savvy entrepreneur. Thank you so much for watching Head to Head. Stay tuned with UATV for more.